12 days of Beardsmas 2023, day number 7. Woo! We are past halfway. That means it's all downhill from here. Just kidding, guys. Don't cry because it's getting closer to the end. Let's enjoy it and smile because it's here. I know that was cheesy, but hey, it just came out. We're going to be back next year and the year after, and we still have tons of great things to go over, including today, talking about Beard Octane, going over Beard Octane's giveaway, and going into a history lesson. Please, if that sounds good, thumbs up, like button, that is appreciated. Let's jump into it. Today is an interesting one. We are going to go with Popcorn Sutton. Yes. Now, have you heard of him? If anybody legitimately had heard of him before this video, drop a comment. I love to hear who's like, yeah, I always found him interesting. Put a comment down below there. I bet some of you have, but many of you have not heard of him. Well, he is probably the most famous and prolific moonshiner in U.S. history. He became famous for this, and he seemed to be really good at it. People loved his moonshine and what he was doing, and we'll kind of talk all about his life. He was raised and died in rural Tennessee, and he came from a long line of moonshiners. He thought that this was actually a part of his heritage and was a part of his family line, and thought that it wasn't the government's place to step in and say, you can't do this, or you can do this, but not this, and we're not going to get into that, but I kind of agree in a way here, you know what I mean? We see things that have come from prohibition, such as the mafia. Good things have come from it, like NASCAR, right, and many others, but he really believed this was a part of who he was. Now, you may ask, Dan, how does he get the name Popcorn Sutton? Was he born with that name, being from moonshiners? No. His first name, which is Marvin, has absolutely nothing to do with the nickname. The nickname is a legendary story. Apparently, Marvin Sutton was at a bar. He wanted some popcorn. He got frustrated because the popcorn machine was faulty and broken. He decided to take his pool cue and physically assault this popcorn machine, destroying it. And so ever since then, they called him Popcorn Sutton. Now, having this line of a family business, I guess you could say, is kind of dangerous, right? It's a risky one, especially in terms of the law, and especially in terms of people trying to rob you or get over on you. This led to a lot of legal problems for Popcorn Sutton, including a string of felonies for untaxed illegal alcohol, and he even had things like possession of an illegal firearm. He had an assault with a deadly weapon. All of these things are tied to moonshining and protecting his business and the government stepping in. Well, he got in all these charges, all these problems, but they just only ever gave him probation. It was nothing where he went to prison and jail for long periods of time. They kind of were like, oh, that's popcorn again. Let's give him probation. Let's give him probation, until he started to get a little bit of notoriety. Until his name started to become famous, he ended up writing his own self-biography. He was living with a lady at the time, and she helped him write it. He also made an own video, I believe VHS, of his process, of his setup, of his making of this moonshine, and it started to get out there. He also started to appear in documentaries. Now, of course, the government's like, dude, we're doing you a solid. We're kind of like, just stay in probation. We're leaving you alone. And then he's making this big deal about it. Now they're like, oh man. Essentially, in 2007, his luck starts to turn because he's living a pretty good life. And by the way, I do have to put this image out there. He was known for a couple of things. One was that he always wore his overall bibs and his famous hat, and he was known for being short and skinny. That was kind of his demeanor, on top of that legendary beard that we see, of course, in the picture over here somewhere. But that's who he was. Now, 2007, his luck starts to shift. He has a fire on his property, and the feds come in and they find 650 gallons of untaxed illegal alcohol, aka moonshine. When you think about gallons, right? Think about what it takes to fill up your truck or your vehicle. 650 gallons of moonshine. My goodness gracious. They bring him in. They charge him with a couple of felonies. Once again, he still gets the slap on the wrist and has probation, aka house arrest. They essentially say, hey, stop doing this, go back home. That's crazy. This only like emboldens him more, and he's even more into what he's doing and more, I don't know if I want to say cocky or arrogant, but he was pretty braggadocious about having the best moonshine, about having the best setup and being famous for this. He gets to chat with a guy at the bar, and he's raving about his industry, raving about his personal business and his family line, and he tells him, hey, I just got busted with 650 gallons, but don't worry, I have 900 more split between 2 locations, and he's just telling it all, bragging away under the influence of alcohol, of course. Well, the person he was talking to, yeah, it was an undercover federal agent. So they go in, the ATF, they seize both locations, they get all the alcohol, they arrest him, they bring him in. At this time, he lets a pretty big detail out. He has a very serious cancer. He has a full out breakdown in court, tells the judge about this. They start analyzing and they're like, listen, we can't give somebody probation who's on probation and violated their probation. We can't do that. We can't keep slapping him on the wrist. So with all these things into consideration, now we're talking possession of illegal weapons, assault with a deadly weapon, and then lots and lots and lots of untaxed illegal alcohol. That's a lot of stuff adding up. They give him 18-month sentence. Likely be able to get out in less than that, probably even half that amount of time, because they thought that he didn't have long to live. And they thought that that could be the end. They allow him to go back home. They give him a couple of weeks to get everything in order for his family. He had a wife. He had a daughter. It wasn't an estranged daughter. He didn't really see her a ton or talk to her a ton. She's come out since, and I believe wrote a book and has talked about it. But he had a wife and a daughter. The court said, go take care of business, report back by this date, and everything will be all good. Well, one day his wife is out running errands. She comes home to find her husband dead in the garage. He ended up sadly taking his own life in the garage, and essentially came out, and his wife was like, listen, he didn't want to go to prison. He wanted to go out on his own terms, and he wasn't scared of death. And he can prove that by, he had an open casket, his own open casket in his living room years before his death. And he only got famous in the last 2 to 3 years of his life, by the way. He had this well before he was famous, kept it while he was famous. And this one, I can't fully share everything, but he also developed and bought his own personal grave footstone that read, Popcorn said, F, right? Not the letter, you, like the person. That was it. Not the story of his life, that was it. End quote, start quote, end quote for Popcorn Sutton. And then this dude started to appear after his death more and more on the History Channel, on the Discovery Network. And he was a big deal, to the point where stars like Hank Williams Jr. attended his funeral. So he became really widely known at this time. There's popular alcohol brands today that are releasing different alcohols in Popcorn Sutton's name or in his honor. And it's a whole world of craziness going on. But this dude made a legacy and a legend of himself from moonshining in rural Tennessee. That's a story for the ages, and the beard just puts the cherry on top to make it part of this series. Wow. Okay, now let's go in and talk about Beard Octane. We'll get to the giveaway in just a second here. Same as always, guys, DanC10 is your 10% off affiliate discount code. Always appreciated when you guys try to use either my codes or my links. It does make a really big difference. I never ask for a penny from you guys, ever. Never have, never will. But doing things like that to support what we do here, to give out all this free content, free giveaways, it means a lot to me, so thank you guys. Beard Octane. This round we are talking about everybody's beard oils. Now again, all 4 companies have different viscosities, and of course, on Popcorn Sutton's day, we gotta go with the America beard oil here, which is a nice apple scent. Beard Octane has a thin or light viscosity. Out of all 4, this is the thinnest. So far, we've covered Fable. They have the thickest on the list that we're covering. And we have also covered Dr. Nick's. They're in the middle of these 2. Beard Octane is the thinnest. It's fast absorbing. It is light. It is wonderful. My beard feels free. It can move. It can glide. I don't have to worry about messing it up. It'll always come back together. Gotta see my camera over here. And it's just wonderful. This is one of my most used oils in the history of my beard, if not the most used oil, the most used carrier blend. This company started in the same month that this channel started. We found each other early on, and we've been working together, growing together ever since. absolutely love this oil. I use it on my skin. I use it on my face at night. I use it on my beard. It's genuinely an amazing oil. If you have not tried a thin viscosity oil, I highly recommend Beard Octane. Give it a shot and see how your beard reacts to it. One little side tip, if you're used to using medium or thick oils, maybe use a little bit more of that thin oil because it is so fast absorbing. Just a little hint there. And I do love thin viscosity oils exclusively in humid climates. If there's a ton of humidity in the air, if it's really hot and I'm sweaty, I go to thin oils, and it's almost always something like Beard Octane that I'm going to. All right, giveaway, guys. I love this one. I can't help but slap it. This is the 12 Days of Beardsmas box. No, this has no relation to me, but it's pretty dang cool. 12 different holiday exclusive scents all in here. These are 100% sold out, you guys. The only way I'm aware that you can get these boxes now is by winning them in the 12 Days of Beardsmas contest, which is amazing. It's free. It's for you guys to give back. Easy way to enter, guys. Number one, click that Gleam link. Enter. Most of you have already. It's just one link for the entire series. You're good to go. Number two, be subscribed and stay subscribed to this channel. Most of you are. Check. Number three, leave a comment down below going down either of these routes. One part is, if you have tried Beard Octane's oils, what is your favorite scent from Beard Octane? Is it Ginger Jamboree? Is it Cold Start? What do you have out there for your favorite scent from Beard Octane? And then the second one is, if you haven't tried them, take a quick look at their scent list, right? They have that. Again, click the scent list, look at all the options. Which one would you pick if I were to say, hey, I'm going to send you an oil right now. Pick a scent. Which one do you think is the best one for you, even though you haven't tried them yet? Can't wait to read these comments. I hope you guys are enjoying these history lessons. 'Tis the season. Stay positive for the holidays, you guys. My name is Dan C. Bearded. Please stay bearded and stay positive.